right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending, of course, from where you join us across the globe. My name is Aguilar Yanis, and I'm leading our acceleration efforts at CB Labs, and I have the joy to welcome you today from our beautiful office here in the German capital in Berlin. So for us, it's always one of the proudest days because we have the opportunity to present our latest acceleration batch to you and showcase what they've been working on. So we witnessed a lot of progress, a lot of frustration, a lot of success over the last 10 weeks, and it always comes down to this. So before we get into the pitching session, I would like to give you a brief overview of what you can expect in the next 90 minutes. All right, so our agenda looks as follows. We have in the beginning a brief introduction about CVC and CB Labs, because I'm quite sure that a few of you in the audience don't know us for that long. Secondly, we will talk then just a few minutes about our accelerator, and then we will walk through the pitch format. Lastly, then we'll introduce our jury, which will lead a Q&A after each pitch. And then, of course, we get into the most exciting part, which is then the pitches. All right, now I would like to hand the word to our co-founder, Olaf Hannemann, who will give you a bit of an insight into our company.
Thank you very much, Janis, and also hello from myself. So a few words on CVC. We are an early stage tech investor with a particular focus on startups that build applications based on blockchain technology. A few numbers. To date, we've done 59 investments, quite internationally in 21 different countries and 4 different continents, spanning over 12 industries. We invest early stage, and we differentiate between acceleration, where the current startups that you will now experience in the next 90 minutes is our batch number 5. In total, we've invested into 40 startups through acceleration. The deal for the startups here is they get 135,000 for 7%, and that includes a 10-week accelerator program. And for those startups that are a little bit further, we invest directly in C2 pre-A. Obviously, we also look at follow-ons into some of our acceleration startups. A couple of things on the investment side we like to stress. We also have a particular focus, despite kind of the global nature, on the African continent, also having a dedicated team in Cape Town, where we've done 15 investments so far across 5 different countries. And one other thing that we're not necessarily looking for, it just happens to be that way, in particular in Africa, but also globally. Quite a few of our startups have a very positive social impact as well and serve for one or more UN Sustainable Development Goals. In Africa in particular, 80% of the startups do that, whereas across the globe, our global portfolio, 60% of the startups also have very strong positive impact. So for us, that's always a nice thing if you can foster tech and innovation and also have a positive impact on society. In terms of us as a firm, aside from our focus on the startup investments, we also have our what we call ecosystem business in CB Labs. Here, what we do is we offer co-working, we host events from small meetups to larger conferences to running a blockchain hub during the World Economic Forum in Davos. We work with large corporate partners as well as established blockchain and crypto players, connecting them and our young startups. We have some research and advisory work, and obviously we run the accelerator. And all of that with a view that we want to be more than just money and really connect the startup world and the corporate world, because that's where we think innovation and acceleration then truly happens. For those that are also looking to invest in funds or funds of fund, we are currently looking to start a process with a Vintage 2 fund focused on our global startups, as well as a dedicated vehicle for our West African investments. So that's something you can reach out to us and the team if you want to talk about details. But now back to what really matters, namely our startups for today.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. I think before we move to the pitches, one more thing.
Yeah, okay, so maybe from my end, if you want to get to know these particular startups as well as our entire portfolio, also network with us and other VCs and our investors, our big landmark event is what we call CV Summit. And the day prior to the CV Summit, we host a invite-only event, which we call Friends and Family Days. This is going to happen on the 2nd of October of this year in Zug in Switzerland. So there, all of our portfolio startups are invited, venture capital investors are invited, investors in us, CVC, are invited, and really our closest ecosystem. You can't purchase tickets. It's an invite-only event. But for our friends and partners, you can register and apply. And I recommend to do that early through this code. We also show this at the end of the presentation.
That's right. All right, sweet. So yes, Olaf mentioned, if you didn't manage to capture the screen for the Friends and Family Day, in the end, we're going to show it as well. So now let's come to the, let's say, exciting part of the afternoon. So as you know, this accelerator, as Olaf just explained, is a 10-week program where we try to bring these early stage startups into a position to be investable and pitch in front of you, the investors, and raise their next rounds. So the program consists of 4 blocks, which are we're kicking off a bootcamp where we bring our ecosystem and our projects to Switzerland in our home turf in the Crypto Valley, and have a week of workshops, social activities to form a strong bond between the founders and us, of course, because we believe that once we invest in a company, we want to stay invested and we want to have a personal relation with the founders. So that's the main purpose of the bootcamp. After that week, then we go into a remote block, because as we invest globally, we know that we cannot force everybody to stay in Switzerland for 2 months. And hence we managed to create a 2-block curriculum online. So this curriculum consists of pre-recorded workshops and live webinars, which take place on a weekly basis. So we have different topics we're working on. In the first block, it's all about the product development. It's all about the legal setup. It's all about tech and compliance. And there we have a beautiful network of experts and mentors that support our projects in this first block. Second block, similarly structured with a different focus. There the emphasis is fully on go-to-market, marketing, PR, branding, all those beautiful topics that often get lost in the Web3 and blockchain space, unfortunately, but we put some focus on it. And then after the second block, we go into the graduation, which has been the last 1 or 2 weeks, where we pitch the projects or get their pitches ready to be now the rock stars they are, and you will see in a bit. All right, so now let's get into details. So the pitch format is as follows. We have 9 projects lined up. They are all from different countries, and they all have different challenges they solve. And each of them will bring a 3-minute pitch, of course, of a presentation. After this 3-minute pitch, then we have a Q&A session, which is led by our jury. And the jury consists of, first of all, our very own Bastian Wetzel, who is overseeing the acceleration program from the investment side. And over to you, Bastian, to introduce your fellow jury members.
Thank you so much, Janis, for the intro, and a warm welcome from my side as well. My name is Bastian, and I lead the accelerator from the investment side. As many know, 2022 has been a challenging year for founders, and 2023 seems to be a challenging year for exchanges. However, in such a market environment, we think it's the perfect time to build. So this is exactly what our acceleration companies have been doing, and it's been a pleasure for me personally to work closely with them over the past few months. Thus, we're pleased to present today 9 pioneering early stage startups. But before we do so, I would like to introduce you to our jury members and befriended VCs that lead the Q&A session after each pitch. So we have Brett, who co-leads Cherry Crypto, splitting time between research and investments. He has a technical background and was the lead engineer and CTO of Oregon, leading DAO developments within the Ethereum ecosystem since 2017. Julian works with Fabric Ventures, where he has been part of the investment team for the last 5 years. Julian is focused on everything that touches DeFi at Fabric. Next, we have Kay from HV Capital, who embarked on her crypto journey in 2013. From 2017 to 2019, she invested in Web3 companies based on a machine economy investment thesis. Currently, she assists HV Capital in all things Web3. And last but not least, we have Raf from Tioga Capital, who started his Web3 journey in 2017 when working at the Bitcoin Center of Korea, and then pushed blockchain adoption to financial institutions for 3 years at McKinsey. But beyond our jury members, we are very happy and pleased to have you guys here in the call as well. As you know, this is an exclusive event where we only invited VCs and very close partners of CVVC. So thank you very much for coming. And without further ado, I would like to hand over to Yanis. And I am super excited for the startup pitches.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bastian. So one more time opportunity to join our friends and family day. So don't worry, you will see this QR code one more time if you don't have the time now. So let me clear the screen and let's move to our first pitch of the day, which is Coala Pay. So Dr. Melly McKay is an Oxford-trained anthropologist, and she spent the last decade in the humanitarian aid sector. She designed and delivered interventions in places like Myanmar, Syria, and Libya. She's going to tell us now how her team at Coala Pay are using NFTs to make international aid better for everybody. Over to you, Melin.
You're still on mute, Melin.
You're still on mute, Melin.
Hi, thanks for that. Well, I'd love to start with a really inspirational story about the $100 billion international aid industry. But the truth is, we're losing millions of dollars every year. It's estimated that currency fluctuations alone cost the aid sector more than $100 million during the Syrian civil war. The World Bank's Ebola funds were held for months without reason, and when they were eventually released, $93 million had been withheld as a service fee by an intermediary bank in Kenya. Having spent almost 15 years in the aid sector, I can tell you that these stories are frustratingly common. And that's why we're building Coala Pay, a better financial infrastructure for worldwide aid. By tokenizing grant proposals, we're making it possible for donors to instantly contract with their grassroots aid delivery partners and send them payments for life-saving aid services. This reduces the amount of money the sector otherwise loses to foreign exchange fluctuations, bank fees, and cross-border transfers by as much as 50%. Where most of our competitors focus on raising money for well-known charities like Save the Children, Coala Pay is a silver platter solution for aid actors that receive the vast majority of their funding from governments. As important as fundraising is, we work with aid actors that need help getting money from their headquarters in places like Brussels and Berlin to their local partners on the ground in Burma and South Sudan. That said, the detailed due diligence, frictionless payments, and automated impact tracking Coala Pay designed to meet the needs of the world's biggest humanitarian aid organizations happens to make us a pretty appealing partner for foundation and corporate giving too. Coala Pay charges a 5% fee when donors transact, a fraction of what it currently costs to move the same money. We also drive revenue through partner platform payments and our data services subscriptions. We're growing through word of mouth and receiving multiple inbound requests each week. In fact, we already have a signed letter of intent to move $1 million worth of funding. We've developed a paid pilot for Save the Children, and we have similar agreements in the works with several other nonprofit organizations, which have a combined $2.5 billion in aid funding under management. We're also thrilled to announce that Coala Pay is one of 6 startups selected to become a MasterCard StartPath company for digital assets, and we'll be working toward launching a commercial partnership with MasterCard later this year. Most importantly, our team can get this done. I've designed programs for the World Food Program in Libya and the World Bank in South Sudan, amongst many others, building my career in the kinds of places where blockchain offers communities in crisis a critical lifeline. And my co-founder, Roy, is a serial entrepreneur and engineer who's been building blockchain since 2017. In addition to 3 successful exits, Roy's NFT plays have grossed more than $40 million in the last 2 years alone. Our third co-founder and partnerships lead, Adam Dakata, brought iconic brands like Coca-Cola and Christie's to Web3 as head of partnerships for Decentraland. We're actively onboarding investors, and the massive market size creates an outsized opportunity for early joiners. For the world's largest donors to really adopt blockchain solutions for international aid, they need additional services, the kinds of things that only a seasoned humanitarian would know how to build and operate. So if you believe international aid is one of the best possible blockchain use cases, get in touch, because no one knows international aid like Coala Pay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melin. And again, your timing is just on the second. So amazing. Yeah, I would start to hand over the Q&A session to our jury panel.
I guess first question, maybe to understand exactly the offering. Do you help users also to on-ramp and to off-ramp at the end, or how does that work with Coala Pay?
Yeah, think about it a little bit like the Common Application. If you know anyone who's recently applied to university, it's really focused on making it simple for local aid organizations around the world to use a single form and onboarding process, including due diligence, to access millions of dollars in funding from donors around the world.
And
Okay.
people mostly, yeah, go on, sorry.
So I also wanted, first of all, thank you very much for the great pitch, Melin. So I would like to understand how and if you also measure and track the impact of the grants, so distributed through the platform.
Yeah, it's a great question. We do give donors an automated impact tracking dashboard that's linked to their wallet. And that tracks things like the type of projects they're funding, whether that's health, education, environmental adaptation, the areas where they're giving. We have a really nice interactive globe that shows sort of exactly where their money's going. And we also have a total beneficiary counter that actually combines all of the projects they fund into one big number. So you can really kind of gamify that sense of giving to make it feel like you're seeing real progress. We also offer a more traditional third-party monitoring and evaluation service. So if donors come to us and say, we really need to know exactly what's happening in the place where these projects are running, we can do that for them.
Maybe going back to Julian's question, I'm not sure I fully understand the product at hand. Like, can we maybe walk through an example from a donor standpoint into how that might then transfer into the recipient at the end?
Yeah. So imagine you're Save the Children, one of our paid pilot partners. They came to us and said, we're having a hard time getting money to our local partners in Bhutan. We now are going to their local partners in Bhutan. We are taking them through our due diligence and vetting process, which includes a very thorough KYC, AML, liveness check, as well as a community consultation to make sure these people really are who they say they are and that the community supports what they're doing. We then take them into our platform where they're able to use a standardized proposal sort of flow where they enter their project details. We turn those into a smart contract and pair them with a piece of algorithmic art. And that's what goes onto the marketplace. So they're bringing their own wallets, whatever works for them, where they are, because of course we're working with people who are in Bhutan, but also in East Africa and also in Myanmar. So it's what didn't make sense to kind of build a specific solution. We really wanted to be flexible based on the needs of the local ecosystem, based on where they are. Once the donor funds that activity, the local partners receive a payment in stablecoins into their wallets, and we help advise them on off-ramp solutions that work for them where they are. In some places, that's a peer-to-peer exchange. In other places, for example, in Thailand, everyone uses BitCub, so it's very easy. They can off-ramp via a bank for a very small fee. So it's really more of a hands-on advisory support we provide to them, because of course the environment's shifting all the time. And also these are actors who have often never received or worked with crypto payments before. So it's not really a very sensible thing to send them to a Discord somewhere. They need a lot of hands-on assistance.
All right, thank you so much for the thorough answer, Melin. So if you're interested to engage with Melin and the team at Coala Pay, you have the email on your screen. Right, let's move to the next pitch. So let's move now from San Francisco to the heart of Europe. Let's move to Poland. Duke is the CEO and founder of Fungies, a storefront and marketplace builder for the gaming industry. He was an esports professional player in the past. He had 10 years of experience building companies and already one exit. His most favorite game recently, and of course his kids' most favorite game is Mario Kart 8. So let's hear it from Duke.
Hi everyone. Can you see my screen now? Right, so this is Stardew Valley, a game that was sold in 20 million units and more than $100 million in sales. And this game was made by this one single developer, Eric Barron, who worked his ass off for 4 years, 7 days a week and 10 hours per day. And he put his game on Steam, one of the distribution platforms, and they take 30% commission. And that's a ripoff, if you ask me. And these guys, those are our clients, Moken's League, a Web3 game that raised $2 million, and they have spent more than 4 months and more than $100,000 to build their own NFT marketplace. They never finished that, and instead chose our solution. So we are Fungies, a no-code, customizable storefront builder for Web2 and Web3 games. It's like Shopify for gaming. And what's really unique is that we also provide in Unity Unreal SDK so that it can build an in-game NFT marketplace or storefront that's synchronized with the web version. Everything is controllable in a powerful dashboard that is, of course, Web2 and Web3 compatible. more than 500 clients have already used our solution and have enabled to build their storefront. The business model is very simple. We charge a monthly fee and we take a small percentage from every sale using our storefront solution. We already have paying clients, $11,000 ARR, with a huge pipeline of $450,000 ARR, both for Web2 games and Web3 games. Our product is self-service. So more than 500 stores have already been created and more than 300,000 assets have been imported to the platform. We have also enabled to sell more than $65,000 worth of sales using our storefront builder. So our big vision is to become the Shopify for gaming, onboarding the next million game developers, both in Web2 and Web3, any game and any assets. My name is Duke, and I'm the founder and CEO of Fungies. I have 10 years of experience building startups with one exit. My CTO and co-founder, he has 10 years of experience building software, 5 of that in blockchain, and he built one of the first crypto exchanges in 2017. And we are all passionate about gaming. We are backed by CVVC, Apply Ventures, and Tatum, and currently raising a pre-seed round of $700,000 in SAFE, of which we have already signed it and secured 50% of that. We have built a strong pipeline of next stage investors. And our milestone for this round is to reach at least $50,000 in MRR. So if you want to join me and disrupt the gaming commerce industry, write to me and let's talk. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Duke. And again, 3 minutes on the second. Great. So yeah, let's kick it off with the Q&A. Over to you, judges.
I'm happy to start with the first question. Thanks, Duke, for the presentation. I would expect that some different type of games in different target segments have different preferences in terms of the marketplace. So my question is, to what extent can your users really customize the storefronts in their platform?
Right. So we have just rebuilt the entire customizable editor. So you can customize your logo, your fonts, your colors, your backgrounds, add multiple pages, add multiple types of assets, such as Steam CD keys, selling Steam CD keys, or selling NFTs if you are a Web3 game. So it's thousands of customization options that we are providing. What's more is that we are building templates. So if you want to build your storefront or marketplace using our range of templates, just a few clicks, and in a couple of minutes, you can choose the right template for your fantasy game, RPG game, FPS game, and there you go. And what's more is that you can add items and games and sell that to your web shop.
Maybe for historical context, like why hasn't this been solved kind of in a big way in Web2? And what makes you think this is going to be like a solution like this would exist in Web3? Because in-game marketplaces, have kind of existed since the advent of online games.
Yeah, so for Web3 games, we are actually one of the first and only providers of front-end customization solution for Web3 games. So if you go to Vanly, Stardust, or other providers, or ChainSafe, they have the NFT marketplace API, so the backend. We are the only ones who provide the front-end customization options for the NFT marketplaces, both in the web, and that is synchronized with the in-game NFT marketplace. So that's for Web3 games. For Web2 games, we already have a large competitor, which is Xsolla. They have 700 employees, a couple of billions of dollars worth of company, and they already provide a web shop in payment integration. Our edge is that we have far superior UX UI design for the end users experience, and we are the first in the Web3 space, so we can compete with them.
Okay, cool. More related, my question is more related to your overall vision. So how do you see the platform, let's say, evolving and adapting like emerging trends such as AI? So what is your view on those new trends with regards to your product?
Sure. First of all, we want to be a platform. So think of us like Shopify for gaming, integrating different apps like MailChimp, Zapier into our platform and integrating analytics to track your sales. So that's the first thing. In terms of AI, we will enable AI-enabled customization options on the front end. So let's imagine that you want to build your own fantasy game website. Just go into our editor, type in what type of game and what kind of vision you envision for your web store. It will automatically generate a web store for you in a couple of seconds. That's our, let's say, plan to integrate AI into our tool.
Awesome. With that, we are on the end of the time for your Q&A, Duke. Thank you so much for giving us the insights. And our next project is coming from Africa. So we're moving to Toby, who is the co-founder and CEO of Ivorypay. He's not only transforming payment landscapes for businesses in Africa with stablecoin transactions, but he's also on a mission to turn every day into Bitcoin Pizza Day. So over to you, Toby.
Hello, nice to be here and nice to meet everybody. I'm going to start with a quick question, which is that do you know that in Nigeria at the moment, a country of over 150 million people, it is currently impossible to use your Naira debit card to make purchases online for dollar-based transactions. And there are variations of these restrictions across different African countries, restrictions that are either caused by geography or by foreign exchange. And within the same period between 2020 and 2021, over $50 billion worth of cryptocurrency was transacted. With more cryptocurrency adoption on the continent now than ever before, we decided to create Ivorypay to leverage this adoption to solve the problem of cross-border payments in Africa. Ivorypay is simply a crypto payments gateway that enables businesses to get paid in stable cryptocurrency and leverage DeFi and NFTs for growth. Think of us like Stripe, but for crypto payments. I mean, if businesses are not accepting cryptocurrency, the individuals that are adopting it can't spend it. Our solution is in 3 phases. The crypto payments gateway itself, which enables businesses to be able to plug it into our infrastructure and start accepting payments in stable cryptocurrency. Our crypto mobile payments wallets that enables individuals to be able to change their fiat into cryptocurrency and spend it on platforms that are integrated or not integrated with us. And also we have a storefront builder because we understand that the economy in Africa, a lot of transactions are happening on social media platforms. The storefront builder enables those people to be able to spin up an e-commerce experience and then start accepting payments in cryptocurrency as well. Our revenue model is quite simple. We charge 1% transaction fee on crypto payments, 1% withdrawal fee for crypto to fiat payouts for businesses, and also the spread that we get off the foreign exchange conversion as well. We've got competitors like Fluid Coins, CoinSpeed, and Flutterwave. But what makes us quite unique and gives us a competitive edge is our broad business appeal, our unmatched coverage in various countries in Africa, and also the fact that we're not just building a gateway for payments, we're building a gateway for the next billion people in Africa to be able to get on board into the cryptocurrency ecosystem. In terms of our traction so far, we've been able to process about $10 million worth of cryptocurrency. We've gotten a monthly recurring revenue of $30,000, and we're currently operating in South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya, and onboarded over 1,000 businesses across this entire country. In terms of the experience we have as a team, I've been in the crypto space for over 6 years, basically developing and launching products like Valtio, Commonwealth Labs, and Amplify. I've also worked with the World Bank in terms of acquisition and development of strategies for tech startups in Africa. My co-founder also has over 6 years experience as a crypto investment analyst and also co-founded Finance Bridge, where he had an exit as well. We've got our blockchain lead, who has also had a lot of experience building decentralized and DeFi ecosystems like Cough Lab and also Bond Finance. We're looking to raise $600,000 in pre-seed for a runway of 18 to 24 months to build and launch our crypto payments wallet and also intensify marketing to onboard businesses across different countries in Africa. If you're looking to be a part of the next payments revolution in Africa, I'd like to get a response and a reach out from you and your teams as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toby. So let's hear for the next few minutes what beautiful questions our judges have in mind for you.
Thank you for the presentation. So since you already have some users, have you seen some behavior like people keeping their money on the wallet? Are they starting to use this as a savings account?
Our mobile wallet is not up yet. What we currently have is the payments gateway itself that businesses are integrated with. People are basically paying from third-party wallets like Trust Wallets, Binance, and the rest of them, right? So we're launching the crypto wallet to be able to or closed circuit ecosystem that allows us to also leverage and generates revenue from multiple sources, and also make the onboarding a lot more efficient and payment a lot faster for the people in the ecosystem.
Makes sense.
How do you envision the go-to-market in terms of, I guess, distributing that wallet, onboarding people, getting them onto crypto rails, and then for the merchants themselves, I guess, off-ramping that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the major strong points that we have, which is the broad business appeal. So we are able to offer on and off-ramp services for businesses across all the countries that we operate in. It's also a service that, because of how we've been able to perfect it so far, we can then offer to, for example, crypto exchanges that are looking to also get on and off-ramp functionalities for those in Africa. We've been able to leverage it, for example, for fintechs that are looking to get cheaper remittances, leveraging blockchain technology as well. That's also something that we could offer fintech, Web2 fintech services as well. So I think that's one of the major competitive edge that we have against most of the competitors in this space, especially when it comes to the African continent at the moment.
Are you handling that on and off ramping yourself, or is that through kind of P2P or other market makers, brokers?
The on and off ramp is something we are handling in partnership with Web2 financial infrastructures that currently exist through partnerships focused on Africa at the moment. We would also be expanding and of course into Europe, which would also give us access to over 30 countries and leverage it out for remittances of people who want to send funds back to Africa as well.
Very impressive. You mentioned 30K of MRR. Yeah, what's your current burn?
We're spending about 40 to 50% of that monthly.
Okay. And in terms of the token, what's the main use cases that you have in mind for the Ivory token, I believe?
Yeah, so Ivory token is the utility token for our ecosystem. It's pretty much designed to incentivize both individuals and businesses as well. And it has 4 major use cases. One, of course, is the discounted purchases. So individuals that are spending Ivory token to purchase things on platforms that are integrated with us could potentially get discounts of those items. It could also be staked by individuals, but there's also a different staking infrastructure designed for businesses. And the value proposition for that is, instead of withdrawing your cryptocurrency into your local bank account, you could save some of that and also earn more APY than you'd get from the bank account. So it's to basically incentivize a crypto holding culture for the businesses that are integrated with us as well. Also for the ecosystem in terms of the storefront functionalities, we intend to offer NFT storefront functionalities integrated into our ecosystem where businesses can diversify revenue by spinning up NFTs that they could sell off the storefront. So the token itself makes it possible for them to mint those NFTs for free, depending on the amounts that you owed. The funds functionality is access to loans, right? We understand that a lot of e-commerce platforms and SMEs in Africa generally have a problem with loans and finance that they need to scale. So one of the things that we intend to offer way down the line is access to DeFi loans to businesses that are integrated with us based on certain criteria like transactions they processed and how much Ivory they've earned over time. So depending on the amount of Ivory token you have, you'd be eligible to be a part and access those loans as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Toby, for thorough responses. So if you're interested in having a chat with Toby, his email address should be still on the screen capture it and get in touch. All right, let's move now from Africa to the United States. So we're talking now to Leto. Alex Murin is a co-founder of Leto, a privacy-preserving analytics platform for the open web. The Leto team has been building the open web since 2017 and is focused on helping to build a more user-controlled internet. Over to you, Alex.
Thanks so much, Giannis. We're in the middle of a paradigm shift in how software gets built using the open web, also known as Web3. As we spend more time in the ecosystem, my business partner Logan and I came across a huge problem that developers face when managing this incredible growth. Developers and businesses struggle to measure the activity that's going on their systems, on their NFT platforms, on their websites, on their apps. This is a huge problem that businesses face today with 0 options really in the market that really solve the problem. Imagine launching an NFT collection and you have 1 million views across the collection and you have no way to measure that. Or worse, your system performs really badly and you only find out when it's too late with complaining clients. We need observability without infringing on user privacy. So we launched Leto a few months ago to help the community generate actionable insights on their Web3 data while preserving user privacy. You can track analytics on activity, on views, you can set system performance notifications, and you can use our API, as you can see here on the right, to actually integrate the analytics data directly within your app for your end users. A business with a really strong approach to observability has a great chance at building a very sizable community and business. So what we're doing here at Leto is we're helping developers reduce the time that they spend on development and troubleshooting, as well as increase product ROI on the systems. We're here to help developers make products that customers love. So our business model is really simple. We have a free tier, and then we have paid tiers. It's worth noting that when we talk to the bigger clients that are interested in using Leto, they will be paying for the paid tier, but we'll be using a lot more of the than what we're allocating in terms of usage. And so once you go through a certain amount of usage of our API, then you start to incur extra costs on top. And so the larger platforms that we work with will be paying us a lot more than just this monthly fee. So there's really a huge gap in the market. Right now, when we talk to developers, they're using two different things: on-chain data and client-side analytics. On-chain data really only tells a small part of the story. It's useful for certain use cases, but really doesn't help you with any kind of activity or system performance data. Client-side analytics, funny enough, doesn't work really well for peer-to-peer private networks. When you have a peer-to-peer network like IPFS and Filecoin, they're very private, and that's great. We don't want to infringe on user privacy like Google Analytics, and thus a new solution is needed. And as you can tell, these markets are enormous and growing very rapidly. So the opportunity here is large. We are aiming to be the go-to data provider for the open web, providing anonymous, privacy-focused analytics for the community. Our architecture is focused on maintaining private, trustless, decentralized offerings to the community. And so we're really excited to work with the community and leverage tooling like decentralized compute networks like Bakoyao from the Protocol Labs ecosystem, among others, to truly make this as Web3 as possible. But the opportunity is bigger than that. When we talk to developers, they don't just want analytics. They also want simple APIs to do awesome things with the open web, like onboarding data to IPFS and Filecoin, and leveraging best-in-class content delivery networks like Filecoin Saturn. So we really see an opportunity to become, and over the next few years, to become the go-to developer platform to serve the open web, but also grow the pie to not just the 50 million monthly active users we have today, but to hundreds of millions and billions. So the Leto team, we have the experience to pull this off. We both worked in enterprise software, and Logan and I have known each other for over 10 years and have been building companies and projects ever since. We have an awesome group of partners that have helped us, and we actually also taught blockchain topics at our universities. So we launched the product just a few months ago. We're working with the initial about 30 developers. We have a pipeline of over 100 developers interested in paying for the service that we're working with now and growing the service to suit their needs. And so what we're doing today is we'll be raising a $2 million round to help grow our software development team and accelerate product development. We really appreciate the time today, and we'll be open to any questions at all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Now let's move over to the jury.
Thanks, Alex. Very cool presentation. Question on the go-to-market on my side. As you mentioned in the presentation, like today, companies are not yet really using Web3 analytics, right? And there is no willingness to spend. I'm sure it will change in the future, but what's the kind of first segment that you plan to attack, like which entities or other?
Oh, yeah. So firstly, we're going after developers, right? So developers who are running these apps and they need information on the back end to have really tight feedback loops. But what we're seeing is as we talk to more developers and as more people use our APIs, the end users of apps want the data too. And so we actually see an opportunity to, as I showed before, use our analytics API to plug the data directly into your app, something like a Dune analytics type dashboard where the community all of a sudden has access to this rich data set that they can use. And so developers actually see that as a value add to their platform. And thus, they make more money, they get more users, they improve their service using our technology.
Maybe talking a little bit about the current set of developers. What did they use before and why did they move to your platform?
Yeah, so the main thing is the data doesn't really exist. So that's the first thing, is they're just really excited about accessing this brand new data set. On top of that, they really are interested in using the data to make better decisions. So developers in the open web, funny enough, experience many problems with building stuff that doesn't get traction, or building stuff that gets a lot of traction and then it fails mid, you get a million views and then the system starts failing and you have no way to measure that. And so what we're talking about here is having observability over everything that goes on in your system without tracking, individual users. And so that's what the developers we're talking to are really excited about that. And they're already making use of it today.
There's one point that I wanted to clarify my understanding on. Are you both combining the Web2 data and the Web3 data of users of a given website?
No.
i.e. taking the wallet? No. Okay.
Yeah, no. So our mainstay, our focus here, and it's really part of our competitive advantage, is privacy. So we are not tracking IP addresses. We are not combining any kind of Web2 data with the data we're producing. But there's still a lot of value in the analytics that we're providing. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Alex, for your pitch. Now, please join me in welcoming Sanat Karkar, who is the CEO and founder of ZeroCode. He has a remarkable track record in the tech industry and a relentless drive for innovation. His mission is clear: to democratize access to Web3 technology and empower brands and creative minds from all backgrounds to unleash their creative potential without having to write a single line of code. Over to you, Sanat.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Give me 1 second. Let me share the screen. And let's go. All right, so thank you everyone for being here with us today. I'm super excited to introduce you to ZeroCode, the ultimate Web3 launchpad that is designed for creative minds. Brands and creators are rapidly embracing Web3. That is no secret. 43 out of the 100 most valued brands, according to Interbrand Index, have entered the Web3 space in the last 12 months. We also saw 9,000 Web3 projects that were listed in 2022 alone. However, Web3 building is complex, expensive, and risky. Less than 1% of all developers have mastered Web3 languages, which leads to a scarcity in the market. Starting salaries begin at $80,000, at a mid-range $120,000, and they can go up to $300,000. That is too expensive for startups and even for brands that are just experimenting in this space and trying to see the potential of it. Sites also that are abandoned, we see them at 90% for bad UX and UI, and that has been one of the biggest hurdles in the Web3 space, really bad UX and UI. Finally, smart contracts that are built poorly and unsecurely have resulted in hacks reaching $2.7 billion in 2022. ZeroCode elevates all these problems through our Launchpad. We help you launch, manage, and scale your Web3 projects without writing a single line of code. That is our mission. So how do we do that? With our Launchpad, we have several components that will help you do that seamlessly. We have our smart contract factory that enables you to launch ERC-721 tokens, 1155 tokens on Ethereum, Polygon, and Binance Smart Chain. And they're all secure and pre-audited smart contracts. Post-deployment, you'll be able to create whitelists, you'll be able to create airdrops, but also access all the data of these smart contracts. Then you can integrate them into any web builder, whether you're using Wix, Shopify, WordPress, you'll be able to integrate them with few clicks. And it gets better. We have a token gating engine that will enable you to create plug-and-play utilities for your community, again, without having to write a single line of code. That is quite powerful for creatives. So what does ZeroCode do, essentially, is to seamlessly integrate all these necessary parameters to achieve a successful launch, from building your smart contracts to Web3 enablement of your site to token gating to Web3 utilities. It's the whole package in one. So how would we offer it? We offer it as a managed software as a service solution at this point. So the platform gives you the bespoke attention of consultancy when you need it and the efficiency of SaaS when you don't. We have 3 different packages that significantly reduces the cost of entry to the market and gives you all the powerful tools to build your Web3 projects. Our pre-seed target is $900,000, which will give us 18 months runway. We have secured 30% of that amount thus far. At our heights of our campaigns, we've generated about 8.5 leads per week, 20 consultations that we've held with brands and startups. We have over 100 signups for the beta, $10,000 generated in revenues in January on the MVP alone. And I'm proud to say that we've launched our alpha product today and we'll start campaigning for it next week. Since then, we have onboarded 7 pilot projects, 5 of them which are paid, and we've launched the first soulbound token on the Near protocol blockchain. About the team, we've brought together the best teams to make this product a reality. Myself, my name is Senat, so I've been introduced already. I'm the CEO. I have over 12 years of experience working in tech companies, and my co-founder is Ayman Khattar. He's the CTO, machine learning and deep learning engineer, been in the Web3 space since 2017. And we have an excellent list of advisors and advisors and team members that have launched successful projects such as Zrun and much more with Artifact and one of the largest growing communities of Web3 builders in Europe. I invite you all to test the product. We have it live today. You can scan this QR code and you can already start building using zero code for free. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sanat. Again, contact information on the screen. If you're interested in having a chat with Sanat, either scan the QR code and try the product or reach out to him. But now let's get to the Q&A session.
Yes, thanks, Sanat. I have a question about the incumbents. What stops the current Web2 players such as WordPress or Wix.com to integrate plugins for token gating or similar Web3 aspects? So do you see them exploring the space as well? I mean,
yeah, so that's a very good question. So what we've been dealing actually with Shopify and we've been dealing with Wix, and the answer that we got for them was very clear. The answer was, it's your playground. Play around, develop as much as you can. As long as it enriches our platform, we're happy to include you into our marketplace. And that's how they operate their business model. They don't necessarily build their own Web3 integration. They rely on third-party people like us to do all the innovation in the space. And hey, that could be a target acquisition because they also always target companies like us that enhances their platform. We intend to have the largest library of integrations for all these like no-code builders.
Maybe one more question. So what is the target size of the companies, that you target? Can you give us an example of like companies that you go after?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first started our journey, we really were aiming for these big brands because my co-founder is based in Paris. We got into an innovation program with L'Oreal. So we saw a lot of promise from these bigger brands in like LVMH group that really interested in Web3 campaigns. But the more we went on in our journey and we started really assessing the opportunity here, we noticed that the faster adoption is going to come from the builders in this space. These 9,000 projects of people trying to build Web3 projects, and they're struggling to find the right development teams and the high cost that comes with it. So since we've switched kind of like our focus onto the builders, we've saw like tremendous growth. And this $10,000 we generate on MVP alone was basically mostly builders. So that's been our focus for now.
Maybe a question on your users that eventually might reach the boundaries, the limits of what can be done with you. What do you think will be the next step? Is it going to be opening a marketplace to enable more plugins? Is it going to be consultancy-based services?
So this is the beautiful thing with our approach right now. We're doing this managed software as a service. So we have a lot of clients that come to us with specific like needs. They say, okay, well, you have all these cool features, but how about this feature? And then we are charging them for it. We say, okay, we'll do it custom for you, but we'll do it at a reduced cost if we see value in it. But then we get to compartmentalize it and like launch it as another component. So the library keeps growing. So one of the latest things that we're building right now is a verification tool to verify NFTs in real life by generating an expiring QR code, and another person can scan it and they can verify the ownership of the NFT to give them access, let's say in tickets in real life and so, etc. So the more we build these, the more they're going to be listed in the libraries. Everyone will be able to access.
Makes sense.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sanat.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Right. Now, dialing in right from actually our HQ in Switzerland is Kevin Kyer. Kevin is a former marketing executive and has launched and managed large marketplaces around the globe, including 10 years at Yahoo. He has seen the planet as a playground for all of us to experience, which explains why he's heading up Pyrpose, a startup focusing on people, planet, and profit. Over to you, Kevin.
Thanks a lot. Can you guys see me okay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can actually. Let me go ahead and use a solar lamp.
Nice.
This solar lamp is sold into off-grid communities. This solar lamp is clean, it's safe, and it's renewable, which means it reduces future carbon emissions. Now, if you wanted to invest in a solution like this, you need to be part of the climate finance elite. And yet, as we well know, if my slide works, there we go. There is so much passion for the climate all around the globe. People demanding to be part of the solution. In fact, a study by Forbes showed that 86% of millennials want sustainable and purpose-driven investments, just like this. You can imagine where we are at Pyrpose. So our mission at Pyrpose is to give agency over climate change. We are connecting the climate conscious consumer directly to solutions just like this. Let me show you what I mean. On your first visit with us, you're going to learn your carbon footprint. Surprisingly, even the climate conscious often do not know their carbon footprint. From there, you're able to commit to future reduction in carbon emissions for as little as $100, lowering the barrier to entry. But now you're engaged, you're connected with the game changers, the climate innovators, the people doing the hard work on the ground, videos, AMAs, chats, and of course, reports where we leverage some blockchain technology to provide transparency and trust. Pyrpose makes money by lending out to climate companies. Those climate companies reduce carbon emissions. After they return that money back to Pyrpose with interest, that interest is shared with Pyrpose and is shared with our community. But it's also designed to be regenerative, meaning leave your money on the platform, watch your impact grow, and watch your returns to compound. We're building Pyrpose on the premise that doing good for the planet and making a return is the model to solve for the climate crisis. In prototyping our solution, we found that 66% would transact if there was a return, while only 30% if it were a donation. As mentioned, I'm Kevin Kyer. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pyrpose. This is my 5th startup. I got into climate 10 years ago. We didn't have a lot of climate companies like this, and we didn't have the climate conscious consumer. We all know the rise that has happened. Now we have demand, now we have supply, hence the creation of Pyrpose. Together with my co-founder and CTO, Oleg, who has the perfect profile to be a CTO. He's been writing code since he was in high school, spent his career in fintech, and he knows perfectly well how to build our platform to solve for the climate. Brings me to my board. I'm very fortunate to attract this board. They're industry experts in impact and digital. They share our vision for the future, and they're also our first investors. They're part of the YPO organization, and that has been immensely helpful in shaping our business. Let's talk about the road ahead. So we're currently in our private beta. We're going to open things further up this summer. We just started advertising, and we're seeing favorable results. We've got hundreds on our wait list, but hundreds is definitely not enough. We need millions. So there's 2 sides to this. One is the product itself must sell itself. In prototyping the solution, we found out that 60% would share out on social after they transacted on Pyrpose. To me, that's pretty impressive because it's personal finance. The second one is looking with large-scale organizations that need to prove to their employee base and their customer base that they're doing something innovative for the climate. To date, we've raised $1 million from business angels around the world, and of course, CVVC. We're preparing for our seed round next month at $2 million that allows us to further invest in product, marketing, and key hires. If you'd like to hear more about our plans for the future, I'd love to hear from you, but I challenge you to take our carbon quiz now. Pull up your phone, scan that QR code, see how you rank up, and of course, you can join our waitlist. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Let's hear from our jury.
Thanks, Kevin. I guess I was curious to hear, how do you find, and maybe even more importantly, actually, how do you vet those investment opportunities?
Yeah. So for I would say at least the next 18 months or more, through our board and through my own network, we've got a whole queue of companies that are lined up. When we think beyond that, it can be part of an impact venture capital firm follow-on offer, right? So we can go from there. Then it comes to the vetting. These are SMEs. So they're not startups, right? And they're not established companies that are already getting the money from the banks or from VCs. So they sit in that middle ground that's often one of the harder places to grow. They've done their own validation through third parties in terms of making sure that they reduce their carbon emissions. But then if we're tagging on to a VC, then obviously the due diligence has happened there.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for the presentation. Would just like to deep dive on your notion of marketplace and really trying to understand it on the long term. Is it only or mainly about having financial products like basically green bonds that you can finance, or is there a world where everyone has some kind of carbon score and you can start selling carbon credits like you see today with institutions, but on a retail model?
Yeah, that is a rabbit hole of a question, if I'm honest, but I'll give you my best quick answer, which is carbon credits is one area for us to explore. But what we're doing is really taking capital directly into companies for working capital, right? They're borrowing it and then they're returning it back. The evolution for us is more about how many companies and how many people we can get on. Carbon credits has potential, but I like the idea of this is money that you can directly recognize how it's going into the company. You have that direct connection. And then afterwards, you understand, okay, that actually reduced future carbon emissions from real products being sold. But I'm happy to dive deeper into that one because it's a pretty complicated area.
All right. If there are more questions, maybe also to all the previous pitching projects, there is some questions in the Q&A tab that the audience mentioned. So right after your pitch, check out the Q&A tab and you can just type the answer to the audience. Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for your pitch. Next up, we move all the way to Cape Town, South Africa. Devon, she has been in the blockchain space since 2016, and this is the founder and former CEO of Linium Labs, where she now sits as chair of the board. Introducing Devon Kantz, CEO of Web3 Sanctuary.
All right, hello humans. So for the past 6 years, I've actually been running a blockchain software production studio, working with clients from across the world. And the one common problem that all of these clients had, and ourselves, is that there is actually a severe shortage of blockchain developers that are actually available to help build out these products. In fact, we're actually seeing as much as a 70% increase in developer demand every year. Fortunately for our team, we had the skills and resources to train and source our own internal developers. However, this is generally not the case, as most companies can't do this and either end up spending excruciatingly high amounts of money on recruitment fees or doing it themselves and ending up with developers that just maybe aren't that great. However, we have a solution. Web3 Sanctuary is an edtech platform to train and place the next generation of Web3 developers. For our students, this means that we are able to provide a safe and welcoming platform where they can further their skills, connect with an expert community, and take their initial steps into their Web3 careers. We then take it even a step further by helping match them with potential employers and get their first job interview in the industry. For employers, we are simplifying the recruitment process by drastically reducing recruitment fees and hiring risk, all the while making global talent more accessible. Employers are able to easily sign up to our platform, state their requirements, and match with a list of highly curated and suitable candidates. In doing this, Web3 Sanctuary is addressing both sides of the Web3 talent gap, education and recruitment, making it an end-to-end solution to benefit the ecosystem's growth. And by doing this, we're taking our platform a step above and beyond that of any of our competitors. In doing this, our business model is also three-tier. So our first revenue model is simple enough, selling courses to students. The next is selling bespoke licensed courses, which we actually help create and curate for our clients, ranging from protocols to enterprises and companies, which we believe is fast becoming one of our most likely top-tier revenue streams. And lastly, placement fees, which we intend to shake up the industry with by offering a 20% fee charged monthly for the first year, as opposed to the industry standard 35% of an annual salary, which is often paid upfront. So far, we already have 3 impeccable courses created and curated, which include a free non-technical Blockchain 101 and our flagship developer Solidity training. We are also nearly finished building out our MVP and have signed partnerships from both the CSIR, working with the South African government, and Codex Programming Academy to build out our instant user base and developer pipeline. We are still a relatively small, but highly capable and very experienced team. And right now we're in the process of raising a further $600,000 to finish out developing out our MVP, building out our team, and assisting with future features on our roadmap, including further Web3 integrations. If you're interested in getting involved or helping us fund our next few steps, please do reach out to me after this call. We know what the ecosystem needs to grow, and we want to empower humans with the tools that they need to build the future. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devon. Over to you at the jury.
Yeah, hi, Devin. A great presentation. Thank you very much for that. I was wondering, can you provide more insights about how effective the courses have been in the past in preparing students to find new jobs, let's say the conversion rate of finding a new job?
Sure. So we haven't actually released our platform yet, but we do have 3,500 people on our waiting list for when we do. And we have about 150 beta testers, which are ready to test the platform when it launches in 2 months. I've actually been in the space now for the past 6-7 years, training blockchain developers for my own company. And generally what we do is we'll take them to our training course for 3 months, put them into an internship program, and then they're very easily able to join any company at a junior role. So in that sense, we've had multiple people graduate through our company into new roles within the industry.
Can you talk a little bit about the competitive landscape and how you might compare? Because I think there's quite a few programs that have popped out like this, most notably maybe being in Code Club, even Build Space in a previous iteration,
Sure.
etc.
I have a slide on that, which we prepared just in case somebody asked this question, which we've prepared. So we do actually, we have actually compared like a lot of our competitors and taken them into consideration. A lot of them do have really great educational content in varying price ranges, but our content is very tested. Like we've been doing this for 6-7 years. And the thing that really separates us apart from all of our competitors is that job portal. So nobody else in the industry right now is taking everyone through all the way from zero to hero and helping them get that first initial step with a job interview with a company. So it's not just an educational platform, it is also a job portal, making it a dual-sided project. I hope that helps explain it a little bit better.
Cool. I think, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe one more question. So, when you target, when you want to place when you want to place developers at the company, so what kind of companies are these? Are these like protocols, L1s, or are these like projects that want to tap into Web3? Or can you give us more examples on the companies?
So it can be across the board. We previously actually placed people within larger protocol companies. So protocols, layer 1, layer 2, really anywhere that the student is interested. One of the biggest things that we actually teach isn't, I guess, like a specific route. So we start with Solidity as a training just because it's a really good springboard. But we actually want our platform to be fully blockchain agnostic. So we want to equip all of our students with the tools and the knowledge that they need to be able to pick their own route and their own future and then help them get there. So we want to, like, whether they want to work in a DAO or an enterprise or with a big corporate, we want to prepare them for that journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devin. So let's stay for the 8th and second last of our projects pitching today. Let's stay in Africa, to be specific in East Africa. Let's welcome Samuel from Nyayomat. He's a football fan at heart, but his passion is rivaled by his interest in African small merchants. Over to you, Sam.
Okay, thank you. Hi, guys. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hello.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So thank you very much for joining the call. As Yanis has introduced us, I'm very passionate about small merchants, and that's why you could ask yourself, why the case? So Nyayomat is here to offer a buy now, pay later solution for the B2B segment in Africa. And it's the sole reason why merchants are the biggest backbone in an African economy. So, sorry. Did you know that 90% of all businesses in Africa comprise small merchants? Yet, 60% of these small merchants lack access to formal credit. Some of the reasons given are because they have a tight working operating cycle, they have high collateral requirements from the banks, and they have a limited credit history that they can work with. And for us, we respond to this problem by offering a buy now, pay later solution for the B2B segment. It's pretty much simple. In this case, we have two participants, the partners and the merchants. The partners get to list the products, the merchants request the products, and when these orders are fulfilled, the merchants can pay using flexible installments. And that makes sense for us. But it even gets more interesting. We have been able to transition from just using traditional financing to using decentralized financing. In this case, in the past, the merchants will have to go to the bank, get money, and thereafter pay the partners or the suppliers to be able to get products. But in our case, it's really simple. With smart contracts being the intermediary factor, merchants can be able to get products from the partners through 3 ways. First of all, any partner can become a lender. In this case, they're lending the product, but they're not lending the fiat money. Second of all, you find that the contracts replace the usual risk function that we have in a bank. Third, we find that through these partners coming together, they're pulling working assets and working capital for these merchants to thrive. And best of all, a secure ledger of transactions is maintained in a multi-blockchain environment for trust and transparency. In terms of how our solution is being reached for the small merchants, at $194 price point per year, we find that the merchants pay subscription fee, advertisement, and credit fees. And what are we looking at for in the future? We're looking at $26 million kind of projected revenue between 2025 and 2027. Further on, we have been able to have highlights in our journey so far by doing what? Having 418 active merchants, 20,000 gross merchandise value, and 90% interest earnings to date. And what's best about this? We have early interest from Suguna Feeds, which is based in India, but serving the whole of Africa. It's an agri-feeds business company that is on a multi-million scale. Beyond that, for merchants, we offer simple capital, transparent pricing, and pay as you trade. For partners, it's a higher sale opportunity, frictionless payments, and collections on their behalf. Beyond that, we have a team of 2 co-founders, myself and Josh Mosi, whom we have worked with for the past 4 years. But even more than that, we have cross-geographic experience from Africa to Asia and to Europe. And we've been backed up by a team of board advisors who are pretty much knowledgeable in the areas of blockchain, private equity financing, and even HR management. And for what we have for today, we kindly ask you for 500,000 raise in order to help us spur market expansion, new hires, and administrative costs. So far, we have been lucky enough and deserving to have 135,000 from CVVC, and we believe that this is the next frontier in terms of empowering merchants. You have my email here, and if you would like to empower small merchants here in Africa, please reach out to us. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. Let's dive straight into the Q&A. Over to you, judges.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Sam. Could you maybe describe like how your solution compares to like classic Web2 buy now pay later platforms?
Thank you very much, Bastian, for the question. I think if you look at the current buy now pay later platforms that we have in the market, most of them are focused on the B2C market segment. And in this case, it's the business to consumers. Whereas for us, we are focusing more on the business to business segment where there's most need. And at the same time, we find that these merchants are not there to buy goods for their convenience. These are goods that they need in order to sell and earn a livelihood. So in that case, it's pretty much sticky for them. But also, if you look at now the other side of the banking side, clearly they don't have access at the moment because of the aforementioned reasons that we stated earlier on in terms of tight working capital, the high collateral requirements, and also the limited credit history that they have with the banks.
Hi, Samuel. Given that you are providing kind of credit to small merchants who have traditionally, it's difficult for them to get a credit. So how are you guys assessing credit risk? So what measures do you have in place to ensure the repayment at the end of the day?
Thank you very much, Justin, for the question. In terms of how we do our own underwriting and credit assessment, first of all, there are 3 ways we do the credit assessment and underwriting. First of all, is in terms of the onboarding. We use geotag onboarding and proof of location for merchants. Second of all, we have been able to scale the life cycle of a customer in terms of what are their sales in terms of revenue for what they're doing on a monthly basis or a daily basis. Third of all, we have been able, once a merchant either way defaults on any facility, then they don't have access to any other product in the platform till they can be able to make repayment for their status.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's wrap up the Q&A with Sam. Thank you so much for the pitch and the questions and the answers. So let's move now to the last pitch of the session. Let's move to the Netherlands and to Colecti. The Colecti team has an impressive track record. They're active in the blockchain space for over 7 years. The team delivered already several open source projects over the last few years. One of the most notable achievements they accomplished was the Blockchain Explorer on Lisk, which has roughly 30,000 active monthly users. Now, let's dive deeper in the revolutionary Web3 platform they're building. Lucas, the CEO and founder, is here to share the details and unveil the exciting possibilities that the platform brings. Over to you, Lucas.
Thanks, Yanis, for this introduction. It's great to be here, and we are honored to be the closing act, actually, of today's demo day. So I'd like to start today by sharing some recent news with you about one of the biggest issues that we are facing in Web3 today. Just in the month of May alone, already over $50 million was lost to scams and rug pulls. Despite the advancements made in crowdfunding, NFTs, and ICOs, there remains a significant lack in the certainty of these fundraising methods. My name is Lucas, CEO of Colecti, and our team's mission is to add trust to project fundraising. As you are all well aware, there are plenty of possibilities out there to invest in promising projects, but they all have one issue in common. You have 0% certainty that a project will actually deliver on their promises. Colecti is here to solve that by building a platform that brings trustworthiness to projects and gives users the confidence to invest. Colecti combines the values of DAOs and the trading capabilities of NFTs to create a launchpad that gives users confidence in new and ambitious projects. It actually works very simple. We give projects the tools to sell community passes and raise money. These funds stay locked up in a smart contract until the pass holders vote to release it. It's up to the project to determine the milestones and the amounts locked in each of the stages. The great thing about this platform is that we make it much more attractive for users to invest in a project, as a project on Colecti inspires trust. And next to that, a user is able to easily trade the community pass on his preferred marketplace if he or she wants to. As users are now truly engaged in a project, it's a great opportunity for project teams to start building their vibrant communities. So let's take a look at the market. NFTs that unlock milestone-based funding, it's a very distinctive approach to a widespread problem. And the combination of tradability on one hand and control over the project on the other is a very effective and basically unique solution in today's market. So let me tell you where we are today. We are currently building out our own community. And next to that, we are close to releasing the NFT infrastructure needed for the Lisk blockchain by deploying our own NFT marketplace. The release of the Launchpad will follow soon after. And building on Lisk is a great opportunity and a first step for us, but we need to be able to scale Colecti. We need to be able to connect to other ecosystems, reaching much more users and much more liquidity. And for that, we need know-how, we need your network, and we need capital. So to end today's pitch and today's demo day, we would like to give you the opportunity to grab your first community pass so you can experience our product firsthand. So don't worry, this one will be for free. You can just scan the QR code, leave your email address, and we'll get you set up. And one last thing before we go to the Q&A. As Colecti, we will actually be attending VivaTech in Paris next week as part of the Dutch trading mission. So if you are attending as well, would be a great opportunity to meet in person. So reach out via email or LinkedIn and we can schedule a meeting. So thanks for listening. We are looking forward to building Colecti's future together with you. And I'm very happy to answer any of your questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for a great pitch, Lucas. Let's move straight into the questions.
Hey, Lucas, thanks for the presentation. One question in terms of, just to make sure I understand in terms of capital efficiency, like As a user, so basically I buy this community pass, and then my funds are locked into a smart contract, a bit sitting unused, and only when we vote on some milestones, those funds get unlocked. Is that how it works?
Yeah. Basically, how it works is that the project determines what the first threshold is. So the first, for example, the first 30% of the money will be available to the project from the start to be able to let them build their product or platform. And the rest of the funds will be locked up until they show that they actually delivered on what they promised. So for example, their first milestone could be delivering a white paper. Once the white paper is deployed, they activate the voting, and after a positive vote, the funds will be released to the project.
Maybe diving a bit deeper into the community pass. So I'm guessing the projects can design it the way they want. Is the general ethos to be giving like long-term VIP benefits for the project, for the things like that?
Yeah, exactly. You could see it as a membership card, membership pass, which will have specific perks, depends on the project that sets it up, of course. It's a membership pass, which basically will not be mainly about the artwork, but it's up to the project to design the pass as they want it. In the end, it will be a tradable NFT on marketplaces like OpenSea, for example, where of course the artwork also plays a role. So it's up to the project to create something cool.
Okay. Maybe do you have examples of cool features people have come up with already?
Well, we are talking to a couple of projects, and one example, for example, is a project that's working on building a platform to revolutionize the film industry. And what they aim to do is to first deliver passes that are around specific artwork, and then, for example, the second step in their phase is to evolve this artwork into a separate section. And in the end, the actual pass will be used to unlock specific features on their platform and will give early access as well. So that's, I think, an example of what the passes could be used for.
It feels like better crowdfunding to me, effectively.
Yeah, exactly. It's a launchpad, basically, that will help projects raise funds in a more trustworthy way, without them having to first fight like the big issue of creating trust for a project that hasn't delivered anything yet, because it's a startup or starting project.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so with that, I think it is a wrap. So first of all, I would like to thank our judges, our jury, for hanging in and leaving such great questions to the projects. Secondly, of course, a big congratulations and thank you to the projects for doing such amazing jobs. To all our audience, so if you didn't manage to capture some email addresses or you missed a pitch, don't worry, we will follow up with specifically listed all the pitches, including video recordings, including pitch decks, contact information, etc. So don't worry, we make sure you get the right information. And last but not least, we will also add again the sign-up form for the Friends and Family Day taking place on October 2nd in Switzerland, in Zug. So on behalf of CVC and CV Labs, thanks again to everybody for joining us, and I wish you a great day.
All right. Also, thank you very much from my side. It was a pleasure, and it was super great to work together with all the different companies throughout the batch. And it's a pleasure to see how they developed over time, and looking forward for the next months to come. See you.